Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. I've got another shout out to get to coming up at the end of the video. Please stay tuned for that. But if you watched yesterday's video, you heard me say in the video that I am excited about this week's top 10 countdown. And the reason I'm so excited about it is because so far, since we started the channel back in March, every top 10 countdown that I have done, whether it's been about sports or music or movies, anything else I've done, even the ones about candy, it was all based on, stats or facts or sales, whatever that particular week's top 10 countdown was about. Now, Grace and I did a couple of top 10 countdowns about Pigeon Forge, and those were our opinion. But every one that I've done solo has been based on facts and stats until this week. And that's why I'm so excited about it, is because it's 100% opinion poll. These are my personal top 10. And I want your feedback on it because it's a top 10 that anybody can do. And it's a top 10 that more than likely, if 50 people sat down and did this same top 10, and it was their personal top 10, they're probably going to have about 7 or 8 that somebody else wouldn't have in their top 10, because it's top 10 pet peeves, and everybody has things that get under their skin. No matter how patient or impatient you are, we all have things that when this happens to us or when we see this happen to somebody else, it makes us just want to scream because it irritates us. We all have them. Everybody has pet peeves that bother you, and to the people that it doesn't bother, they look at you like, that bothers you? And then you're thinking, well, maybe I'm crazy, but it bothers you. So this week's top 10 countdown is going to be top 10 pet peeves. But before I get into it, let me say that if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome aboard. Don't forget, when we get to 1,000 subscribers, we'll be having a giveaway. All you have to do is subscribe and comment, and you are eligible. And please give the video a thumbs up. But if you are new to the channel, you may not know that we do a top 10 countdown every single Wednesday here on the channel. And I do it to kind of give us a break from, the real world. I try to make the top 10 fun every single week. I always ask for ideas and suggestions on a top 10. But typically what I try to do, since I do one on Wednesday and I don't write the stuff down, I just go by memorization, is I usually try to wait Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to see if anybody has a suggestion. And then if nobody gives me a suggestion, then on Monday, I'll start thinking about what I'm going to do that week, and then by Tuesday I'll make my final decision, because I don't want to do a top 10 countdown on a Wednesday and then wake up Thursday morning and already decide what I'm going to do the following Wednesday on that week's top 10, and then on Saturday somebody gives me a suggestion and I say, oh well, I'll do yours next week, and then I don't write it down, and then by the next week I might forget, and it wasn't intentional, I just forgot. And then if I do the one they asked me to do, then the following week, the top 10 countdown that I planned the week before, I've done forgot about. So typically I usually wait Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to see if anybody has one, and then if not, on Monday I'll start thinking about what I'm going to do. So if you have an idea or a suggestion on a top 10, most of the time if it's anything to do with baseball, basketball, football, or NASCAR in the sports world, or wrestling, I'll do it. And if it has to do with movies or music, I'll do it. So if you have an idea or thought or suggestion, please feel free to let me know. But without further ado, this week's top 10 countdown is top 10 pet peeves. And number 10 is the saying, It is what it is. That irritates the mess out of me because I don't know what it is. How do I know that it is what it is when I don't know what it is? And nobody else knows either because they'll say it about anything. If they wake up early, it is what it is. Go to bed early, it is what it is. Leave work early, it is what it is. Well, what is it? It can't be everything. So how can I say that it is what it is when I don't know what it is? And number 9 is people holding up the number 1 signs. And I don't mean that in a vulgar way. I mean that as far as if you watch sports, you've seen this, and I'll use college football for a reference since it's college football time. You're sitting back and it's bowl season, which is coming up here right around the corner. There's only 2 games left in the regular season, but you're sitting back and you're watching the bowl game, and let's say it's the Independence Bowl, and it's a 6-6 team playing a 5-7 team, and the team on defense has a player that makes a crucial tackle, and the cameraman will find one certain section in the crowd of that whatever team's fans are, and those fans are going, "We're number 1, we're number 1." And you're thinking to yourself, no, you're not. If you were number 1, you wouldn't be playing in the Independence Bowl and be sitting there with a 5-7 record. Now, the team might be number 1 in your heart, which is how any team should be if they're your team. But if you're playing in an Independence Bowl, you're not number 1. So why are you in the crowd going, "We're number 1," when you're nowhere close to being number 1? Number 8 is the places, and we've all seen these, no matter whether it's a grocery store, retail store, hardware store, paint store. We've been there, especially if you live in a big town that has more competition, because the more competition there is, the different variants you have in the prices. And you go to a place and they'll have something, and their price of that item is $3. Well, you think, oh, I don't want to pay that. So you drive 3 minutes up the road and you find another store that has the same exact item, and they'll have the item and the sign says $5.50, and then it says beside it, buy one, get one free. Well, in reality, it's not buy one, get one free. You're paying double for the price of one. So really, when you buy one, you're paying double. So it seems like supposedly the other one is free, but really you could have bought the same item at the other place and just paid regular price and got 2 for the same price as this place that's telling you one's free. To me, that's false advertising. If you're going to jack the price up and charge me double, it's not buy one, get one free. I'm paying double for one. So it's not buy one, get one free. And number 7 is restaurants that don't fix their menu. And I don't necessarily mean, they no longer have an item on the menu and they're just not taking it off. I mean, it's an item that they sell and they sell it every day. But this particular day when you go, they're out of that item and they don't tell you up front and be forthcoming that they're out of that item. And I know some restaurants do it because I've been at work before, and I'll go to a restaurant and I'll go to the drive-through line, and while I'm sitting there waiting, I'll look at the window and see the big menu, and they've got a certain item, and out where the price is, they'll have a sticker over it that says sold out. So you know immediately that they're sold out. But not all restaurants do that. And we've all been there where we've been out before with our, our family or maybe our spouse or, one of our kids. And you discuss what you want to eat. And you think, oh, man, I know what I want. I want to go to so-and-so steakhouse and get me a steak. So while you're driving there, the whole time you're driving there, you're thinking about that steak. And you got your mouth watering. You're licking your chops. You getting all excited about that steak. And you get there and they bring their menu out to them, and you don't need the menu. You already know what you want. And they set it down, and they could easily put a line through that particular steak, or the waiter or waitress could set the menu down and say, well, we're out of this right now. But they don't tell you that, and they walk up to you, oh, what would you like, sir? Oh, I want a T-bone steak. Oh, we're out of that right now. Well, why didn't you tell me that 20 minutes ago? The whole time I've been sitting here, you could have told me you was out of that. Or you sitting there and you eating, and a lot of, especially dine-in restaurants, they'll give you one menu that has the food on it and give you another menu that has the dessert on it. And we all love a good dessert, especially, if you're on vacation, you're trying to splurge, or, you've been out shopping all day and you're tired, or you ain't had a good piece of cake in a long time, and you go there and you get your food and you're eating, and while you're eating, they bring you a menu by nothing but the desserts. And they set it down, and they got a big old piece of peanut butter cake. I love peanut butter cake, peanut butter pie, anything. I love peanut butter. And they set that thing down there, and you look at that peanut butter pie, and you think, man, that peanut butter pie looks good. And they could have easily set the menu down and told you, oh, we're out of that right now. But they don't tell you that. And you sit there all that time while you're eating that steak you got, or your hamburger, or whatever you're eating, and you're staring at that peanut butter pie, and it looks so good. And they walk up to you and say, sir, would you like dessert? And you say, yeah, I want that peanut butter pie. Oh, we're out of that right now. Why couldn't they just tell you that? Is it that hard when you work at a restaurant and somebody wants a certain item to just tell them up front, hey, we don't have that item? Is it so hard to take a marker and just write through it and say, we're out of that right now? That way everybody knows. Because if you go to a restaurant to order something, and even if you had your heart and your mind set on that item, if you sit down and they tell you right away they don't have that, well, you've got time to browse the menu and find something else. But if they don't tell you, that gives you even more time to get all wound up about that particular item for them to come by 20 minutes later and get your order, and you order it and they say, oh, we're out of that. That will irritate anybody. Even if you're the most patient person in the world, that would irritate anybody. Number 6 is a driving pet peeve. Now, my wife gives me a hard time because typically I'm a speed limit driver. If I'm going down the road and it's 55, I'm going between 53 and 58. That's just how I drive. Since I got my license, that's how I drive. But some people go slower, some go faster. But we've all been going down the road, no matter what speeds you're going, no matter where you're going, no matter where you are, and you've got somebody that rides your butt. But when it comes time for them to pass you, and they get to a passing lane, they won't pass you. And they get, behind you, and they fly up on you and make you think, I guess I'm going slow. So you speed up a little bit, and the faster you get, the closer they get. So you slow down to try to get them off your bumper, and you slow down, and they still right on your butt. But then finally, when the road expands and they've got a passing lane, they stay on your butt. Or when it's still a 2-lane road, but the one beside it has a clear spot for them to see, and they've got a chance to pass you, they stay on your butt. That irritates me to no end. If I'm going that slow and I'm not making you happy, and you've got a chance to pass me, go around me. And number 5 is another one that's involved with being inside a store, no matter what kind of store it is, and that's people that leave their buggies in the walkway. And what I mean by that is no matter what kind of store you go to, you have the aisle that you go down, and then in between each department or each area is the big huge walkway that people walk down, going all kinds of directions. And people be pushing their buggy, and they'll stop, and they'll leave their buggy sitting right smack dab in the aisle, in the middle, in the way of God and everybody, and they'll walk down the aisle and get their item, and then come back and put the item in the buggy. And then the people that work there also get irritated, because if you work there, and if you ever go shopping and you pay attention, you've seen it, they try to come by with a cart or a pallet or a buggy or whatever, and they can't get by because they don't want to move the buggy because they don't know where it came from. They have no idea. Does it belong to another customer? Does it belong to another employee? Does it belong to a manager? Where did it come from? So you're stuck because you don't know where the buggy came from, and the person is 20 feet away walking down the aisle to get an item and then bring it back. When Grace and I go shopping, even if we don't get anything down the aisle, when we walk down the aisle, we push the buggy with us. To me, it saves time. It's a whole lot easier. You just push the buggy down the aisle, take the item, throw it in your buggy, and keep walking straight. That seems more convenient to me than walking in circles and going down the aisle and coming back. To me, it's easier to just take it with you. But if you've ever been in a store and seen that, you've gotten irritated. And number 4 is left lane drivers. We've all seen that too. And it is a law now in some states to where supposedly if a cop sees you in the left lane and you just cruising, they can pull you over and give you a ticket. Because it's supposed to be, if you're on a 4-lane road, but really it's, 2 going this way, 2 going that way, you're supposed to stay in the right lane until you're going to pass somebody. You get over, you pass them, you get back over. But there are some people that will get in that left lane and they'll drive for an hour in the left lane, and they ain't trying to pass anybody. They just out on a good Sunday drive, ain't in no hurry, and they're breaking all kind of laws, and they just taking their time. And most of the time when Grace and I go to Pigeon Forge, this irritates me because when you get up near Clayton, Dillard, Tigertown, Mountain City, in that area, they have a bunch of roads. It's, 2 lanes going this way, 2 lanes going that way. And if people are visiting the area, that's a very pretty part of the North Georgia mountains. So a lot of people, if they haven't been there in a while or never been there, you've got 2 cars side by side, and the ones in the left lane are looking that direction, and the ones in the right lane looking that direction. And here we are trying to get by, and we're stuck. We can't go anywhere because you've got 2 cars that are both going the same exact speed or close to the same speed, just cruising, just looking. That irritates me to no end. Get over in the right lane. When you want to pass somebody, get over, get back over. To me, that's something else that just does not seem that complicated. Number 3 is people that talk in the aisle. And this goes back to when you're out shopping, especially if you live in a, small area or small town, small community where you pretty much know everybody. And you go to the store and you see somebody and you know who they are, but you haven't seen them in a month or 2. You can't just walk by and say, "Hey, how you doing?" You got to stop and carry on an hour and a half conversation. But you can't go to the back of the store out of the way, or back there, where the restrooms are, where nobody's around, or over there in produce where you might see a customer, every now and then. You've got to stop right smack dab in the middle of one of the busiest aisles in the store and stand there with somebody, and y'all are standing side by side, and they just chit-chatting. And then if you say, "Oh, excuse me, I need to get by," they look at you like you're the worst person in the world because you interrupt their conversation when they could have easily went somewhere out of the way and talked. But they don't look at it that way. They look at it as, "Hey, you messed up my conversation." Go somewhere where there's nobody around. Go back there at the back of the store. Go back there where the bathrooms are. Go back there where the paint counter is. Go back there in the back of the store where somebody's, occasionally buying a trampoline or, buying a bedspread. But no, they want to go to the busiest parts of the store and sit there in the middle of the aisle and just talk. Oh, that bothers me. And number 2 is people that don't use blinkers. I need to call every General Motors company in the world, every store that sells Ford, everyone that sells Kia or any other car dealership and car manufacturer, and just tell them that from now on, when they make their cars, don't put blinkers on them because nobody uses them. It supposedly is also against the law for people to turn without using a blinker, but I don't believe that, because if that was actually a legitimate law and the cops followed that law, I would see people on the side of the road all day, every day getting ticketed, because nobody I see uses a blinker. I've even seen cops, not the ones that I know personally. I know a few personally. The ones that I know personally, they use their blinkers. But I've seen a few cop cars driving down the road, and they'll just suddenly turn. Does people not know that little thing on the side of your steering wheel that goes up and down is because you're supposed to warn everybody coming towards you and everybody behind you that you're turning left or right? And I've seen many a times where I'm going down the road and I'm driving and I look beside me and there's a car that's turning that did not use their blinker, and they gave no sign of turning, and the car behind them gets a little bit too close to them, and they honk, letting them know to use your blinker. And the person driving looks at them like they're evil for honking at them. Well, all you had to do was use your blinker. That's what it's there for. Maybe we need to have a new car driving seminar where we go and everybody learns that the little thing on your steering wheel is a clue that you're turning. And the number one pet peeve on my list is anybody who is not a Clemson fan. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm serious in the fact that you should be a Clemson fan, but that's not my biggest pet peeve. My number one pet peeve, and anybody that knows me knows where I'm going with this, it's negative people. I do not like the negative vibes that negative people put on. Now, if you know me personally, you know you'll never catch me in a bad mood. You'll never catch me having a bad day. You'll never catch me upset. I get upset, but I get over it. Every day might have bad moments in it, but that bad moment doesn't make the day bad. We can still make the overall day good. And I know most people, almost everybody, except for me, is going to have a bad day. It happens. But I'm not talking about that kind of person. I'm talking about the person to where, and we all know them, whether it's family, coworker, friend, acquaintance, whoever, we all know them. If you see them 15 times, every time you see them, they're going to be in a bad mood. If you see them 50 times, all 50 times you see them, they're going to be in a bad mood. They're the kind of people to where if they had a job that gave them a bonus, and their bonus was $500 from their job, they'd say, too bad it wasn't $1,000. Well, yeah, $1,000 would have been good, but $500 is more than what you would have brought home. But they've got to find the downside to every single thing. So I'm not talking about people that have a bad day. I'm talking about the people that just live to make every day a bad day. They could have 10 good things happen in a day, and they won't reference those 10 things. They'll bring up the one bad thing that made that day bad. Those are the kind of people that I'm talking about, and we all know them. And those are the kind of people that, if I can, I try to stay away from them every chance I get. Because when I see them coming, my thought process is, oh no, here we go. Because I know how they are. They've always got to try to make everything be negative. And they can't let anything in their life be a positive. Somehow, some way, there's a negative side to it. That is my biggest pet peeve. Please feel free to let me know what your biggest pet peeve is. And today's shout out goes out to my man Scott, who lives in the upstate of South Carolina, and he is a Clemson fan. He actually subscribed to the channel early this morning. Scott, thank you so much for subscribing. And remember, now that you have subscribed, if you comment, you are eligible for our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. And please give the video a thumbs up, and we would greatly appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. What do you call it when someone below the age of 18 has a problem? A minor inconvenience. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them.